So read that from the top again.
Regular armed forces alerted, take up positions. Minority troops divided and detained.
So my brother gonna prove. Keep on reading. Just keep reading.
Minority troops divided and detained, along with all white sympathizers under guard 3rd hour.
You see that? So 3rd hour, white sympathizers will be detained along with the military capable men. Bring that point out.
So this basically letting you know that the white sympathizers are going to be detained as well under the 3rd hour. So that's letting you know the minority is basically the so-called Negroes or the children of Israel, the minorities.
The quote-unquote blacks and Hispanics, the so-called minorities. You know what I'm saying? But those white sympathizers, like Mr. Cornelius and so on and so forth back in the day.
The people that basically joined on to the children of Israel, the house of Israel.
Right. You will be detained under King Alfred as well. We're going to stop right there. It goes all the way to the 1st hour. And under this plan, they have constructed, I believe in Indiana, they have, and probably throughout the United States all over the place now, they have incinerators that burn up to 5,000 degrees Celsius. So when you see those FEMA coffins down there that can fit how many men?
Like 3 to 4 grown men.
Right, about 3 to 4 grown men. They will be thrown in these high-level incinerators and burnt to a crisp under this plan. But in 1984, it changed to Rex 84. Let's check it out. Since they don't believe that, some people don't believe that King Alfred is real, or Rex 84 is on the books. Let's see what it states.
Rex 84, short for Readiness Exercise 1984, was a secretive.
Was it what?
Was a secretive,
crafty counsel, Psalms 83.
Scenario and drill developed by the United States federal government to suspend the United States Constitution.
You see that? So they had this secret drill, unbeknown to most people, in order so they can come through, suspend the Constitution. That means all your so-called rights. So all that you going out there voting and thinking you got power and all that, they getting ready to try to take that. Well, they're going to take that out of your hands. It's a mirage anyway. But they're going to take it out of your hands on the books.
Reagan was elected to the presidency. He installed Louis Giuffrida as head of FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Giuffrida was an old cold warrior from Reagan's California days whose specialty was suppression of unrest and dissent. Giuffrida, North, and George Bush began to turn FEMA into an instrument of domestic anti-terrorism.
You're dealing with a group of people in the Reagan administration who equated political dissent with treason, and who cannot differentiate between emergency procedures, which I think everyone agrees are necessary, and suppressing political dissent. And with North and Poindexter and Casey, you had a group of people who saw Americans who disagree with them as the enemy.
Colonel North, in your work at the NSC, were you not assigned at one time to work on plans for the continuity of government in the event of a major disaster? Mr. Chairman.
I believe that question touches upon a highly sensitive and classified area, so may I request that you not touch upon that, sir.
I was particularly concerned, Mr. Chairman, because I read in Miami papers and several others that there had been a plan developed by that same agency, a contingency plan in the event of emergency that would suspend the American Constitution. And I was deeply concerned about it and wondered if that was the area in which he had worked. I believe that it was,
may I most respectfully request that that matter not be touched upon at this stage. If we wish to get into this, I'm certain arrangements can be made for an executive session.
And tragically, the only member who got
trouble. So you are the quote-unquote American citizens that they planning on detaining, but let's prove it. Read.
Large numbers of American citizens who are deemed to be national security threats.
Deemed to be national security threats. And we know that that's talking about us so-called black nationalists that love the nation of Israel. You are a national security threat to these people. Read.
In the event that the president declares a state of national emergency.
You see that? So just like we read in King Alfred plan, who's the one that declares emergency?
The president.
The president. You know what I'm saying? So this is on the books in Rex 84 showing you King Alfred plan and Rex 84 are mirror images of themselves. They're the same thing. Read the next highlighted section. Let's see who the American citizens is that they targeted.
They patterned the plan on a 1970 report written by FEMA Chief Louis Guilfrida at the Army War College, which proposed the detention of up to 21 million American Negroes.
21 million who?
American Negroes.
You see that? So in their war games, when they sitting behind the scenes, we got to detain all of them quote-unquote Negroes. All the children of Israel that's in America. We got to detain them and destroy them. Why? It's just like Revelation read, how Satan is at war with us, because we represent the Most High in this earth. But if the Most High don't shorten these days, this plan to go forth and then destroy us all. Not just in America, but across the globe. Finish that up.
If there were a black militant uprising in the United States.
You see that? So this is why they come up with the action film, to try to make us look like complete buffoons, complete threats or national security threats to this place.
Or terrorists.
Exactly. And we ain't no terrorists. We know the Most High is going to bring terror on this place. We just in his army and looking forward to it. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, we can't take it up in arms. Yeah, you know, you might hold a gun or two, but what is that going to do up against the HARP system? What is that going to do against their Star Wars program? When they can shoot deadly laser beams from outer space. What can we honestly do against these things? Nothing. That's why we have to have the Most High and Hamashiach to defend us. Let's get into the Patriot Act. Read this portion. Now keep in mind, the president is the one that's going to initiate these things. Read right here. What a lot of you so-called Negroes is getting ready to vote this coming election, November 6th. Before Barack Obama was elected, he voted for the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act was on the books and was needed. It was necessary for a catastrophe to come on the scene for that to be put into play. This book right here, written by Mr. William Cooper, who was assassinated in 2001 before 9/11 took place. He laid the foundation in it. He was a U.S. Naval Intelligence brother and studied all the documents and seen that, hold up, there's a secret combine that's running this thing, that's pulling forth all the catastrophes in the world for a secret agenda. And the Patriot Act was one of those many things that they used, that they passed when they did 9/11. Yes, they are the ones behind 9/11. But let's see what they was trying to get out of it.
On May 26, 2011,
So this is recent.
President Barack Obama used an auto pen to sign a 4-year extension of 3 key provisions in the USA Patriot Act.
You see that? So this brother right here, Mr. Barack Obama, the president of the United States, used an auto pen, not even a real pen, signed it electronically, but extended the Patriot Act to do what?
While he was in France. Roving wiretaps.
You see that? So now they got roving wiretaps. They can easily wiretap you without you even knowing it, without even having to secure a warrant signed by a judge. Read.
Searches of business records.
Searches of your business records without you knowing.
And conducting surveillance of lone wolves.
Of lone wolves. So conducting surveillance of lone wolves. You them lone wolves that they keeping up under surveillance.
Individuals suspected of terrorist-related activities.
You see that?
Not linked to terrorist groups.
Not linked to terrorist groups. We ain't linked to no Al-Qaeda. We ain't linked to no Islamic group that's rising against this thing. We linked to the Heavenly Father. That's their greatest terror right there. They know the strength of the Heavenly Father. That's who they truly fear. You know what I'm saying? But this brother signed in an extension of this law to be able to keep all of this intact. So when it hits the fan, execute Rex 84. Get these people off the scenes. To further prove it, let's see what he signed. Let's see what he signed January 1st, 2012, what's known as the NDAA Act, National Defense Authorization Act for the fiscal year 2012. Read that. Once again, you are the enemy of the state, Israel, so-called black man and black woman, so take heed to this.
Indefinite detention without trial, section 1021. The detention sections of the NDAA begin with the affirming that the authority of the president under the AUMF, a joint resolution passed in the immediate aftermath of the September 11, 2001 attacks, including the power to detain via the armed forces any person, including U.S. citizens, who was part of or substantially supported Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, or associated forces that are engaged in hostilities against the United States.
You see that? So we know when we go into this book, we know what's coming to Miss America. We know her destruction is near. So that labels us as being hostile. Once again, linking you back to the adversary having war with you. He's the one really behind that, trying to label you as a terrorist. He's secretly making war against you. Let's see. Once again, this is coming out the Behold the Pale Horse. This is coming out of the LEAA, funded by the Department of Justice and the Police Foundation. Let's see what their linking of Rex 84, which was also known as the Operation Cable Splicer. Let's see who they label as an enemy. Read that portion.
This scenario provides for an orderly transition from state to federal control. The Deputy Attorney General of California commented at a Cable Splicer 3 conference that anyone who attacks the state, even verbally...
Even what?
Even verbally...
So you attack the state verbally, they got a problem with you.
Becomes a revolutionary and an enemy by definition.
You see that? So you become an enemy by definition, even if you attack with words. And we know that the sword is what? The word of the Most High. Fire. Exactly. And this is all we bringing forth. But by you bringing this right here, you are an enemy of the state, Israel. So this is talking about you. So the NDAA Act has a portion in it in section 1021 known as indefinite detention. And Mr. Barack Obama, he pushed that heavy, known as prolonged detention, meaning they can lock you up against your constitutional rights without even having a charge against you, as long as they choose to. And you know, that's aimed at the seed of Israel. If you don't know, now you know. Read the title of that document right there.
FEMA camps seeking contractors and personnel to staff and confine.
You see that? So FEMA, this was a document that came out December 13, 2011. It says FEMA camps. Read that again.
FEMA camps seeking contractors and personnel.
It's an ad for a job. You know what I'm saying? We need contractors and personnel to start FEMA camps for the House of Israel and the quote-unquote white sympathizers, those that would link on to the House of Israel. That's who those camps is being fired up for. You know what I'm saying? They getting ready, Israel. So that means that it's high time for you to get ready. Anything you want to add? Good. Read this last portion. This is coming from out of Mr. William Cooper's book once again. And we're going to read a statement from Mrs. Margaret Sanger. See, these things is hidden from us. Once again, like as Psalms 83 says, crafty counsel. They're hidden from us. They don't want us to know that they want to destroy us from off the globe. Read this portion right here. Right here, start and yeah. Now this is what Mrs. Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, you know what I'm saying, one of the many destructive tools used against her. This is what she had to stand in one of her books. Read.
And in reference to her Negro Project of the late 1930s, which aimed at recruiting black ministers.
Aimed at recruiting who?
Black
You
ministers.
see that? So a lot of these dudes, man, is on the tape. 98% of them is on the tape. These ministers is completely false. Brother, come here. No, you got something to say against that. You got a very high vendetta against them so-called black ministers. Read that portion again.
And in reference to her Negro project of the late 1930s, which aimed at recruiting black ministers, physicians, and political leaders for birth control and sterilization in the black community.
So from this, it says black pastors, preacher. So this is why these guys will get up in church and tell you and lie to you to your face and tell you that Jesus put all that stuff away.
Right.
They are on the tape. They are all under a 501c3 contract.
Exactly.
Meaning they cannot tell you the truth. But your pastor from slavery, he was the first guy that they said, okay, we got these niggas in control now. We're going to